Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha, Shama Sundar Radha, Shama Sundar Shri Radhe. Jai Radha, Giridhari Radha, Giridhari Shri Radhe. Jai Radha, Nilamadhav Radha, Nilamadhav Shri Radhe. Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Jai Shri Radhe, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada, Jai Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Gurudev. Jai Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivadakacharya Astottar Sari Srimad. His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. ISKCON BBD founder Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Garadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Shri Giri Govardhan ki Jai. Shri Braj Bhumi Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Shri Mathura Puri Dham ki Jai. जय श्री वामन क्षेत्र द्वारकापुरी धाम की जय, श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, श्री मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय, श्री गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, जय श्रीमती भक्ति देवी की जय, जय श्रीमती तुलसी देवी महारानी की जय, जय श्री सामवेद भक्तवृंद की जय, जय श्री बृहद की जय, जय श्री संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय, जय श्री हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, श्री श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर की जय, श्री श्री राधा गिरधारी भगवान की जय, श्री श्री राधा नील माधव की जय. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Shri Shri Gauranga ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimati Mahavishnu Goswami Ji Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Ji Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Govani Prani Vishi. Hare Krishna. So how's everybody doing? All right? Hare Krishna from New Zealand, Auckland, New Zealand. Last week I couldn't come. We had some issues with the connection problem. We can blame it to India, but it's not an India problem. It was my connection problem, the charging problem. Okay, well, hope everyone is doing well. And so today we are meeting for our Devotees Realisations program. And yes, I think I see somebody new today. Although he's not new. Pradyumna, has he been with us before, Abhinashavu? Hare Krishna, Pradyumna, can you hear us?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. You come for the first time to the program?
Yes, I am first in the Sunday class. Actually, I have NCC every Sunday, but it got cancelled today because of rain. So I joined today.
So what NCC, which division are you in, NCC?
Air Force.
Oh, in Air Force, huh? Right. I was in the 1st Maharashtra Armored Squadron.
Okay.
Yeah,
We also have that in Nagpur. It's a 4-arm Maharashtra.
Yeah, that's right. It's an armored squadron, and the advantage was that we don't have to wear the full dress. We were allowed to wear donkeys there, and everybody was just so upset. They said, we are allowed to wear donkeys. We are armored squadron, special squadron.
Yes.
Okay, good. So you're planning to go for Republic Day's parade as well?
Yes, regular parades are there.
No. Are you planning to go to Republic Day parade?
Okay.
Are you planning
RDC.
to go there? Yeah, RDC.
We are planning for AIVSC now. RDC will be in September or October. The training will start there.
They allowed me to go. They selected me to go there. I think twice in a year. But I couldn't go. I was studying. Because of my studies, I couldn't proceed it further. So otherwise, I would have been in the army. Who knows, Okay, anyway, good to have you with us. Now we can see you now as well. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All right. And Pratyush, we have seen Pratyush before. He's met us. Hare Krishna, Pratyush. Nice to see you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Wonderful. All right, so who would like to start with today's discussion, please? Realizations. Please feel free. Is it going to be Sanjeev Prabhu? You're taking the lead all the time, as usual.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, yes, I can share my realization. Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and thank you, Amrish Prabhu, for organizing this program and giving us chance to share our realizations. These programs, actually, I look forward for these realization programs, and because all the devotees share very nice realizations, and I learn so much from different realizations, and very inspiring as well, especially from the young devotees and new devotees. Not that I am very elevated, I'm also very new devotee. And so I want to share a post that Amrish Prabhu shared on the Facebook, and is from the Srila Prabhupada's purport. He says that a pure devotee should fear material association. When a pure devotee always fears material association, his real position of bhakti is manifested, and he naturally becomes uninterested in material enjoyment. Thus, situated in devotional service, a devotee, although in the material world, is not in material world. Yet, a devotee always fears, because I am associated with the material world, so many contaminations affect me. Therefore, he is always alert in fear, which gradually diminishes his material association. Srila Prabhupada in purport to Srimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 2, verse number 8. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, what I have realized from this mellow is that devotee of the Lord always alert in fear, which gradually diminishes his material association. So in this point, that I realized that the fear of material association should be there. And because this association of material world, that we are here in this material world and stuck in the circle of birth and death. Actually, association is very important. And Srila Prabhupada said that if you want to become first-class drunkard, then you associate with first-class drunkard. But if you want to become pure devotee, then associate with a pure devotee. And association with the pure devotee and like-minded devotee actually is very important. And Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON so people can have association and get together, remember Krishna. And different preaching outfits are there and providing association. But as I said, that the like-minded devotees association is very important. And an association, we are reading actually Nectar of Instructions, and there also there is a point about association in second mantra and second verse. So in there also the Prajalpa point actually we just studied. So when we associate with worldly Jansangha, when we associate with worldly minded people. So so when we come in association with devotees, then gradually our deep rooted sense gratification desires get purified. We have so many contamination actually, and when we come in the contact with pure devotees, then we start following the process, and that process is so powerful that we gradually purify from these contaminations and these deep-rooted bad habits that we have. So so that gradually we do it. But the main point that what I realized that it says that being a devotee, we fear material association, but we always alert in fear. So what does this mean? Like what is this alertness in fear? So what I understood that like we are in this material world and we try to follow devotional service and this process, but we fall down. We fall down generally. I can tell myself that about me that I fall down every day. But then being alert means that we alert on these fall downs, that okay, because we are in material world, but we don't deviate from our aim, or won't deviate from our process. So we get up again and start following the process of devotion service. So alertness, what I understood is that, so we always alert, we always fear, yes, but we are in the material world, so we always get things done. All different modes affect us, and actually getting things done in this material world, you have to be passionate, the mode of passion will comes, and then you will get things done. But then again, you realize and you are alert in that okay, our aim is that Krishna consciousness, so we always in that mood. So so this alertness was stuck out for me from this this mellow. And these actually, those couple of points I realized from this mellow. It's not very big realization. I was actually meditating more, and sorry, I couldn't write it a big elaborate one. So this is my realization. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Hare Prabhu. Who would have to go next now?
Thank you, Amrit Prabhu, for not leaving us either from India or from New Zealand or maybe anywhere. And you just find time to actually get us engaged. And then following us every week also. I was telling my devotee yesterday that me and Amrish talks, and when we talk, we don't stop. We keep talking, and without realizing that how long we talk. So this is not and it's not ordinary. And I also try to talk to my devotees, but not my devotees. And but I can't. I am not able to. So thank you to all the other devotees, all the Vaishnavas, for your valuable time and tolerating me particularly with so much. As Sanju Prabhu said, we fall down every day. So I fall down every day, every moment. So as far as my realizations are concerned, as we all discuss and we all try to figure out why we are here, and a typical kind of people, devotees, get attracted to our program, and the people who are not attracted, all goes to them. They are attracted somewhere else. And so we are mostly focused in educating ourselves. We're mostly focused in understanding what Prabhupada actually wants to say. We take guidance, we take supervision, we try to follow lifestyle, and so-called we try to become a preacher, so that we can tell other people that how wonderful Krishna consciousness is. So in this regard, I was actually reading Amrish Prabhu post in Weekend group, which is for everyone, and in which Amrish Prabhu actually shared a relation of Srila Prabhupada from purport of Bhagavad-Gita chapter 3 verse number 29, and which actually very nicely talks about whom to talk and whom not to talk. And yeah, So I'll read that realization and the quote from that group, and then I'll share my realization. So men who are ignorant cannot appreciate activity in Krishna consciousness. And therefore, Lord Krishna advises us not to disturb them and simply waste valuable time. But the devotees of Lord are more kind than the Lord because they understand the purpose of the Lord. Consequently, they undertake all kinds of risk, even to the point of approaching ignorant men to try to engage them in the acts of Krishna consciousness, which are absolutely necessary for the human being. So this is what was shared in that group. And in this, what attracted me, which I want to share and probably quote that verse also while you all get ready to share realization. But the devotees of the Lord are more kind than the Lord because they understand the purpose of the Lord. So devotees, I was listening to an intermediate class, devotees of devotee, why do it? So Prabhupada very clearly writes here, but the devotees of Lord are more kind than the Lord because they understand the purpose of the Lord. This is what we need to think, and this is what we need to meditate when we are getting preached. When somebody is telling us that why he is doing it, what is his intention, what is going to get out of this. One is that we are preaching, and one is we are getting somebody actually interested in you, and he wants you to change, so that probably you can understand Krishna consciousness in the right mood, in the right way. And the verse which is 329, this is Prabhupada's talking, which was shared in that WhatsApp group. And then Krishna saying in 329, Prakritera guna samuddaha sajjante guna karmasu tana akristana vido mandan kristana vinana vichalayet. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prakriti hai, impelled by the material modes. Guna samudha, befooled by material identification. Sanjante, become engaged. Guna karmasu, in material activities. Tan, all those. Akrishtana vida, person with a poor fund of knowledge. Mandan, lazy, to understand self-realization. Krishtana with, Kristana with, wind. One who is in factual knowledge, no, may not, vichalyet, try to agitate. So don't agitate them. So translation, bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached. But the wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performance lack of knowledge. So this is Krishna saying, then don't worry about them, leave them alone. My energies will take care of them. But Prabhupada saying in his realization that devotees are more kind than even Krishna. So for a preacher to absorb this is actually very important. And because when we are talking to someone, you don't know what you are getting into. People ask questions, whatever they want to ask. And it not necessarily will be in a scriptural question or may not be related to this. And this is not only in a class session, when you actually talk to someone on the road or at your workplace or in your neighborhood or with your family or anywhere, and all of us come across of situation where actually they tend to stop liking you or they start avoiding you. So that's very important to understand, and that's why this is a skill set. And particularly when you are preaching to a family, it's even harder. This is my opinion, because if they want, they can choose not to talk to you and their family. So when I was thinking about this quote, I said how actually we talk to the people whom we love most or whom we love so much. That is a skill which we realize as we progress. One thing, and what I normally tell people, that you become what you want them to become, because we got attracted in Prabhupada. I'm talking about myself. When I saw his lifestyle, when I saw what he said, how he was doing things, how he was performing things, and that was the turning point. When I thought, okay, let us be a little bit more serious. And when we saw those things, and that's what we should actually try to practice. That's what we try to understand. And so that how do we talk to these people become a not a habit, at least we understand how to talk to them. And so this is what I wanted to share. Another thing is that Krishna has a different opinion. That's a different subject matter. And Prabhupada has a different message in the same verse. So that's the relation I wanted to share.
Okay, thank you very much, Avinash Prabhu. Yes, very nice realization. So Sanjay Prabhu, who would like to go next now? Please come. We have kept 3 hours for it. You can finish early if you want. No problem. At least now in my voice, there is no coming and going, You can still really hear me. India is very special, Okay, Hare Krishna.
Okay. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Amrisho, for organizing this program. As Sanju Prabhu already mentioned, I think this is one of the favorite program. Actually listening to devotees' realization. Actually, we learn a lot, and we feel very much inspired as well from each other, which is very good. Thank you, Avinash Prabhu and Sanjay Prabhu, for sharing your realizations. So today I was thinking, I want to share one, actually, my personal realization that I had very recently, which made me think that actually, since we actually started, actually Amrish always encourages to preach. So we, somehow actually pushing us to actually keep on doing, to best our abilities. And since actually means Amrish always mentioned, this instruction by Guru Maharaj, that program should always go on, whatever happens. So I always actually remember this, whenever, because you're planning your things whole week and you always feel busy and you always, doubt, how this continue, every weekend. So I think last Saturday, I think it was Pandav Nirjal Ekadashi. So we had our program, and this morning, actually, I woke up, and actually, when I woke up, actually, I had a funny feeling that I'm not really, actually, I didn't feel normal. Something wrong with my health. And actually, I took shower and did the puja, started doing puja. And while puja, I was feeling really bad. And somehow, actually, I thought I can finish puja, because I feel like I'm going to vomit. And I still continued because I wanted to finish the puja, actually do not make anything mochi. So I finished everything and then somehow finished the puja, and my health really deteriorated. I couldn't focus anything, and I was feeling really uneasy, and I didn't really recognize what's happening. Is something wrong with my stomach, or it was just a headache? I was having a headache as well, and I couldn't focus, so I slept actually. I just wanted to get well because we had a program in the evening, and I wanted to be actually in a good shape because we didn't want to miss a program. But as I slept for a couple of hours, couldn't able to sleep properly. Then I woke up and it was already 3 o'clock, and a couple of hours to go. And I thought maybe, couldn't able to do a program. But again, I remember, I think devotee is going to come and it's not really good to actually skip the program. So what I did actually, I said, I have to actually somehow feel good. So I went and actually induced the vomiting, somehow. First time it didn't happen. And I tried a couple of times and I did manage to do this. But later I felt good. Means I was a bit weak, but later actually I took shower, and then actually I was thinking I was feeling very weak, and can I able to speak again? And it was Nirjala Ekadashi, so it was very. I wasn't actually doing without water. Actually, I drank water because I know it is going to make things bad, but I actually prayed to Guru Maharaj as well, actually somehow, I wanted to continue the program. So actually after that, we conducted a program, and I actually, in half an hour, again, whatever I prepared, I able to actually just revise everything, and we conducted the program. And by the end of the program, I was feeling okay, actually headache was stopped, everything. The program, I think it went well as well. And then actually I again completed all the chanting. So I actually surprised, normally whenever I had this experience in the past as well, but normally I do not feel well for a couple of days, 1 or 2 days, normally you sleep, but actually when you pray, and actually when you actually even I chanted later on, and everything actually it went smoothly. So what I realized, actually, that was, if you're with a devotional service, the prayer always works, when you pray to Guru Maharaj or Krishna, somehow actually you feel good and you manage to do your programs. So that's what I actually realized, because I didn't really want to miss my chanting on a Ekadashi day, and still, I did it very late, but I still able to complete my rounds. So that was good. And I was remembering, actually, I was going through the Srimad Bhagavatam recently, and I came across this verse, which I found it quite inspiring, where it is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1st, Chapter 7, verse 22, where Arjun Maharaj says, Arjuna Vacha, Krishna Krishna Mahabhavo, Bhaktanam Abhiyankara, Tvam Eko Dhayamananam, Apavargosi Samsrite. So Arjun said, "Oh my Lord, Sri Krishna, you are the Almighty Personality of Godhead. There is no limit to your different energies. Therefore, only you are competent to instill fearlessness in the hearts of your devotees. Everyone in the flames of material miseries can find the path of liberation in you only." So I found this actually instruction quite very important and inspiring. And I think actually we experience this in some form. So here actually word Abhyankar is very, very important, where it says that Krishna, as being the Almighty Personality of Godhead, he's the only one who's competent enough to instill fearless in the hearts of his devotees. So in this actually material world, actually, which is called like actually flames of material miseries, you are always going through many difficulties, everyone is always struggling with some things. But actually one who actually makes an effort, actually here they're talking about the devotees of Krishna, who are actually pure devotees. But even for someone like me, who just actually started out, try to actually understand this philosophy, even actually we derive great deal of actually strength when we actually chant, or actually when we listen to other devotees' realizations. When we read Bhagavad-Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, even only by reading this, actually you actually feel, you derive strength. I think last Sunday we listened to the class given by His Grace Buddhimant Khan Prabhu, and he spoke on Bhagavad-Gita, deriving the strength for Bhagavad-Gita. And I think, he mentioned many verses, and actually he highlighted, all the weaknesses that we have and how we actually derive a strength, to actually strengthen, actually turn our weakness into the strength. So we can actually, progress in devotional service. So I found it very interesting. Actually, I did not realize actually, all these instructions were there and we are reading it. But, we didn't realize that actually we have all those weaknesses. And here Krishna is saying that actually he's the one who instilled the fearlessness in the heart of his devotees. And even actually, because when I started out and when it comes to devotional service, and Amrish Prabhu always, encourage everyone, because to actually, study and preach, to whatever is your capability, according to your capability, but everyone should do it. So that is the mode we have been taught. And even it's not my natural inclination to actually go and speak. Still means I never thought I can able to speak to a group, Still, we are doing it now. And thanks to Amrish Prabhu and, Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, that we actually inspired by them, looking at them and actually how they did it. And there are many, many realizations actually, means I have seen. Amrish Prabhu used to actually share the videos of realization from Srila Prabhupada devotees, actually in the Wednesdays in few years ago. And we used to listen to devotees, how they actually made various things happen, even they actually do not have the expertise in a particular area. And you always feel nervous when you actually try to do things which is not very natural to you. But actually, when you actually want to do a devotional service, somehow actually you get a strength. Krishna actually gave that strength, or instill that fearlessness in your heart, that you actually normally, if you put the inner efforts, you can able to do it, and you will actually feel, actually this is something you can do with, some actually preparation or determination, and obviously then you can actually take inspiration, learn from other devotees. So this is very important, and I always experience as well, actually, whenever you're doing actually even material activities in your job as well, actually, sometimes you do not feel very comfortable speaking a truth, or especially speaking a truth to your seniors, or your boss or boss. So I used to find it very difficult, but now actually I just take Krishna's name, and you just go on and just just tell them. So this is means sometime I think is there. I think people. I used to actually I do it actually. Pray to Krishna, and you just go ahead and do it. And Krishna will protect you. So to have that faith and actually doing it, and it's always worked out to my surprise. Whenever you actually take Krishna's names, and if you're doing what you're doing is right thing or honest thing, I think you never actually. I never actually anything that happened that I thought is the wrong decision. So yes, actually, even the things, actually devotional things, if you feel that's very difficult to implement any instruction, if you pray to Krishna, or you're definitely to Guru Maharaj and Krishna, then definitely you will find a way, with their mercy. So yeah, that is my realization from this verse. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol Prabhuji, thank you very much for a nice realization. I'm trying to find a particular verse which talks about how an individual devotee or a group of devotees who are devoted to Krishna, they are very fortunate. I'll just read that. Just give me a few seconds. I've saved it somewhere. I have to look for it. Right, here it is. य एतस्मिन् महाभागाः प्रीतिं कुर्वन्ति मानवाः नारयोऽभिभवन्ति एतान् विष्णु प्रक्षान् ivasuraha. So this is Garga Muni is referring this particular verse. He's saying that demons or asuras cannot harm the demigods who always have Lord Vishnu on their side. This first point. Second point is this, that similarly, any person or group attached to Krishna are extremely fortunate. Third, because such persons are very much affectionate toward Krishna, they cannot be defeated by demons like the associates of Kamsa or by the internal enemies, that is the senses. So here it is completely non-sectarian. Anyone can be. You don't have to be particular organization or anything. This is very eye-opening. It is very nice. And Prabhupada has not given any purport to this. This particular verse. It's very simple. So ye means those person who etasmin unto this child, seeing Krishna's birth, Mahabhagaha means very fortunate. Pritim kurvanti manavaha. Pritim means with affection, with one's affection. Kurvanti, one works or executes one's service. Manavaha, such persons. Narayo abhivananti etan. Abhibhavanti etan. So, na means not, araya means enemies. Abhivananti means do you overcome. Etan, those who are attached to Krishna. Those people who are attached to Krishna. They cannot be overcome. Vishnu Pakshan Iva Suraha Vishnu Pakshan. The demigods will always have Lord Vishnu on their side. He's always protecting them. Vishnu is also very side. He also takes sides. Although God is impartial, but he takes sides. Eva, like Asuraha, the demons. Even demons cannot touch them. So devotees are already demigods to that extent. The devotees are devoted to Krishna. So Krishna is devoted to devotees. So he gives us strength from inside for us to do things which we cannot even imagine to do. Very nice. I just thought I'd share this verse. All the best. It reminded me of this verse. Hare Krishna. Yes. Who would like to go next now? Please feel free.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Amrish Prabhu, for giving us an opportunity to give us our realization. Thank you, Shital Prabhu, Avinash Prabhu, and Sanju Prabhu. My realization is from Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 6, verse 47. It's talk about the faith. This verse I shared with one of my Indian friend. So I thought I will share it here again. So I'll read the verse. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatentar atmana Shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatamo mataha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And of all yogis, the one with a great faith who always abide in me, thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me, he is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So here actually Srila Prabhupada talk about the faith. So you can avoid worshipping this respectable man or a demigod, but you cannot avoid servicing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because we are all part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, actually, every living being entity is intended to serve the Supreme Personality of the Godhead by his own constitution. Failing to do this, he falls down, which mentioned in Srimad Bhāgavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 5, verse 3. Also in Bhagavad-Gita, it's referred in Chapter 10, verse 8, the translation. Here the Lord says that I am the source of all spiritual and the material worlds. Everything emanates from me The wise who perfectly knows this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So Srila Prabhupada here mentioned that, so even in Vedas, it is said that that the Devaki, the son of the Devaki, Krishna, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the beginning of the creation, there was only the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. There was no Brahma, no Shiva, no water, no fire, no moon, no stars, no sun. So in Maha Upanishad, it is said that the Lord Shiva was born from the forehead of the Supreme Lord. Thus the Vedas say that it is the Supreme Lord, the creator of Brahma and Shiva, who is to be worshipped, not any other demigods. So even in Mantra 12, it says that those who are engaged in the worship of demigods enter into the darkest region of ignorance and still more to do the worshippers of the impersonal absolute. Even it refers in Bhagavad-Gita chapter 10 verse 2 that neither the host of demigod nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of all the demigods and the sages. So we can actually understand that Krishna is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, simply by studying his words in Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhāgavatam. The devotees who are fully surrendered unto the Supreme Lord can understand. So by the grace of Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotee of the Lord do not bother about the impersonal Brahman conception of God. Their faith and devotion bring them to surrender immediately unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And out of causeless mercy of Krishna, they understand Krishna. No one else can understand him. So even great sages agree that what is Atma and what is Supreme, it is whom we have to worship. So that's also mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita chapter 7 verse 23 that a man of their Lord says that the men of small intelligence worship the demigod and their fruits are limited and temporary. Those who worship the demigods go to the planet of the demigods, but my devotee ultimately reach my planet, my supreme planet. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, chapter 5, verse 3, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has pointed out that the original cause of offering the Lord and following down the one's position is one's not learning how to properly worship a bona fide spiritual master. One who is trained to offer respectful obeisances and worship to the bona fide spiritual master automatically offers proper worship to the Lord. So without the mercy of the bona fide spiritual master, even so-called religious man will gradually become atheist. So we must have the strong faith. Those who are not faithful in the devotional service, in Bhagavad Gita chapter 9 verse 3, God says that those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. So Srila Prabhupada says that to get the faith in Supreme Personality of Godhead, we have to engage in Krishna consciousness and also in association with the like-minded devotees. Actually, in earlier previous lectures, Shital Prabhu has already mentioned that you must choose the like in association. I mean, even like in Srila Prabhupada went to America and he had an association with the hippies, but he gave them the association. He didn't get the association. The same is applicable to us. For me, even like last week I had been to Fangarai for some company work. But I mean, I didn't go to the club. I had the party. I went straight to my hotel and stayed there. So everyone understand, they respect us, provided if you keep yourself and maintain your, no, I mean, one should not fear that, oh, what other people will say. So you must straightforward for what you are doing it. And also the association is so important. Like last Saturday, I remember, I mean, how I get the inspired from the like-minded devotees, our devotees from Namhata, like Siddhar Prabhu mentioned, and I knew that last Saturday he was not well when Kadashi was there. I could see that, but he could complete the lecture. I couldn't even realize that he was sick that day, but he really done a very good lecture, and I get inspired. Everyone, I think, I suppose, get inspiration from the senior devotees and the like-minded devotees. So association is really important, and one must not get even that any association, the workplace or the friends, one must have faith in Supreme Personality of Godhead. And once you have the 100% faith, then I think you won't see back. Your progress will slowly. It's not fast, but slowly, you will get what you desire to do it. Hare Krishna, this is my realization.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for your nice realizations. Okay, now we are warming up now. Who would like to go next? Hare Krishna. No one? Should we start the program then? We'll call it early evening here.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you all very much for your very nice realizations. Thank you to Sanjay Prabhu, Sridhar Prabhu, Avinash Prabhu, and Sopan Prabhu for your very nice realizations, very insightful. And Sridhar Prabhu, I hope your health is okay now. Yeah, it's awesome. It's great to hear. Very inspiring. So my realization is from one of the verses that was posted in the Hare Krishna Weekend WhatsApp group. It was chapter 2, verse 69. I think it's a very, very interesting verse, which I prepared a little realization on. So I'll just say the verse and the translation and the purport as well. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato munehe. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. So before going to the purport, when I first read this verse, it was very interesting to me because initially I took it on face value that I took it on face value that I just repeat the translation. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. So when I first read the translation, I wasn't entirely sure what the meaning was. And Srila Prabhupada has elaborated nicely in the purport. Srila Prabhupada says, there are two classes of intelligent men. One is intelligent in material activities for sense gratification, and the other is introspective and awake to the cultivation of self-realization. Activities of the introspective sage or thoughtful man are night for persons who are materially absorbed. Materialistic persons remain asleep in such a night due to their ignorance of self-realization. So here Srila Prabhupada is giving a analogy, almost Lord Krishna, is giving an analogy, a metaphor of night and day in terms of the darkness or the awakening of spiritual realization. Materialistic persons remain asleep in such a night due to their ignorance of self-realization. The introspective sage remains alert in the night of the materialistic man. The sage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of spiritual culture, whereas the man in materialistic activities, being asleep to self-realization, dreams of varieties of sense pleasure, feeling sometimes happy and sometimes distressed in a sleeping condition. The introspective man is always indifferent to materialistic happiness and distress. He goes on with his self-realization activities undisturbed by material reactions. So after reading through some nice lectures and verses by Srila Prabhupada, I'd come to understand that actually this verse is very relevant for us in our current time, modern time, where we see all around us that there's actually a bit of a contrast in what spiritually inclined people are doing and what the general majority of people who are not spiritually inclined, who are materially invested, how they behave. And actually the interaction between both of these different classes of people. So Srila Prabhupada mentions in a lecture that actually those that are materially inclined, they see us, or this, they see Krishna devotees and they say, oh, look at what they're doing. They're not, they don't know what they're supposed to do. I'll actually quote exactly what Srila Prabhupada says. Srila Prabhupada says that, let's see. So Srila Prabhupada says materialists, they see that what these people are doing is nonsense, that they've given up all material enjoyment. They're engaged in something that's vague. And there's no, there's no concrete understanding. So that person doesn't understand the difference between right and wrong. Whereas those that are spiritualists, they see the materialists and they say, what are they doing? They're essentially sleeping in the material existence. That we have all got this human body of life and elevated consciousness, and they're not utilizing that in any form of devotional service, or even forget about devotional service, any form of spiritual elevation. So what I also understood from here is that preaching is, hence why preaching is very, very important. In any capacity, it doesn't have to be you preaching, giving a class, giving a lecture, any form of preaching, even if you're talking to your friends, if you're talking to your colleagues, just that understanding that, people look at you, people perceive you in a completely, what's the word? In a negative way. And so sorry, there was a word that I was thinking of, not negative, but I can't remember it. So yeah, so people that that you go and talk to, they perceive you in a negative way. And so for preachers, it becomes very difficult for you to overcome that barrier. And in fact, the 9th offense that we all chant is to instruct the faithless person about the glories of the holy name. So it's a very fine balance there that, when you know that someone is faithless, at what point are you yourself even committing an offense? So this verse I thought was very important, because Srila Prabhupada really dives into the cognitive difference, the difference in perception between people who are materialistic and people who are not, people who are spiritually inclined, and how each view each other. And so for everyone who's, I'm sure, is going to interact with so many different people, at what point do we, or to what extent do we understand this? That, yes, we understand that these people are not, they're so-called sleeping in the spiritual advancement, so we have to wake them up. But at the same time, the people that are perceiving us, how do we change that perception as well? So that was something that I was, pondering on. There's a very nice Vaishnava bhajan called Jeev Jago, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself says that wake up, sleeping soul, wake up. So this idea that everyone is sleeping in the lap of the witch Maya, and everyone has to have that spiritual awakening, is the resurgence movement that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was propagating. And that movement is what Srila Prabhupada has continued and expanded so incredibly in the Western world, where in fact in the Western world, even though there is some inclination towards philosophy, it's still a very uphill challenge for anyone who's spiritually inclined here, due to the various temptations and obviously it being a Western world, with everything that comes with that. And so I also thought that, this metaphor of, sleeping is that when Lord Krishna says the time of awakening for all beings is the night for the introspective sage. It is also, Srila Prabhupada very nicely mentions in the purport of the Nectar of Instruction, verse 3, that one also has to be confident that all activities other than devotional service, such as mental speculation, fruitive work, or mystic endeavor, will never yield any enduring benefit. Complete confidence in the path of devotional service will enable one to attain his desired goal, but attempting to follow other paths will only succeed in making one restless. So, for me, this answered the question, because I was confused that when Lord Krishna says the time of awakening for all other beings, for all materialistic beings, is the night for introspective sage. What does that mean? That wasn't making any sense to me. But Srila Prabhupada very nicely said that this confidence in what our commitment to the devotional service means, that there's no cause for mental speculation. There's no cause for whenever anyone says, "Oh, I'm very spiritual," but what exactly does that mean? Where is the Shastra? Where's the scriptures behind that? There's nothing to back it up. And so this quest for knowledge without any substantial backing is what people who are philosophical tend to form the basis of their arguments for. And so this mental speculation, etc., those that are in Krishna consciousness following bhakti yoga, they understand that ultimately it's all pointless, because all the knowledge is very nicely given by Srila Prabhupada, and the knowledge is such that we can apply it in our personal lives. So this confidence and this unwavering confidence will make it so that we're not tempted or restless for hankering for this and that, or hankering for information from here and there. If we come to that understanding, if I come to that understanding that knowledge is all in one place, then when everyone else is searching, we have that understanding and closure that, we don't need to go searching for anything. So that's what I got from that verse. It was a very, very interesting and very applicable verse to our own devotional service. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you very much, Krishnadas. So youngsters are very important, your point of view, realizations. From with regards to preaching or devotees have to stay. Devotees have to live with among everybody else. They can live in. Not everybody can go and stay in Vrindavan or Mayapur. You won't survive there. It's not advisable as well to stay if you're not sufficiently elevated. And in that also, how do we fit in? We have to be fitting in. We always tested. A devotee is always tested. The moment you become Krishna devotee, everybody will test you. Your family, your friends, your enemies. One wrong move, they are waiting to kill you. Put a gun there. One wrong thing, one wrong move, one wrong this, and they'll go for you. Suddenly you become everyone's enemy. Sorry, everyone becomes your enemy. You become everyone's enemy for what reason? Prabhupada writes this point. Prabhupada writes this point many times. So, at the same time, things are so deteriorating already in Kali Yuga. Like just now, there's an attack in Kabul, Afghanistan, with some temples, Sikh temples been attacked and people been killed and all those things, So, and at every stage in every country of the world, in New Zealand, there was devastation in the morning when 7 people died, in a car accident in Picton, and people who the first responders, they've yet to come out. They've yet to come to grasp with the situation that all 7 were killed, including an infant. How do you make sense of all this? And more, this question will come to people's mind: how to make sense of all what is going on? And as those senses, the answers are there in Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhāgavatam, especially in the purports of Srila Prabhupada. So that is the reason why it is very important that for our own personal safeguarding, when the whole world is under fire, for us to make sense of what's going on and then answer people's questions. Because unknowingly, no matter how old you are or young you are, there will be some souls who will be dependent upon you to find answers, to give answers. Suddenly, from the point of view being dependent, people are dependent upon you. So everything that we are studying have to be practically implemented in our lives. See, but that is when that happens, when we implement in our lives, that's when magic happens. Real magic happens. Okay. So even if you tell you're not going to be preachers, you are going to be. It is going to become. The world is like this, moving towards that direction. Welcome to the world. The new world order. They do not know, Prabhupada says, they do not know my plan. If they knew my plan, they would not allow me to succeed. And we are a small organization, one small drop, not even a drop in the ocean of Krishna consciousness. There we go, talking about it. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, who would like to go next?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, so my realization, it is on a series of messages that Amrish Prabhu had sent on the beginners group. So it's not any one particular message. I read the entire thing, so it's kind of based on the entire thing only. I'll read the introduction and I'll tell in short what the entire thing is about. So, thou shalt not kill or thou shalt not murder. At a monastic retreat near Paris in July of 1973, Srila Prabhupada talked with Cardinal Jean Danielou. The Bible does not simply say, do not kill the human being. It says broadly, thou shalt not kill. Why do you interpret this to suit your own convenience? So basically, the series of messages on the beginner's group for anyone who has not read or just as a catch-up. It's basically Srila Prabhupada is talking to this person, and he's talking about, he's actually asking that why are they misinterpreting it, or why do they take it upon themselves to interpret what is written in the Bible, and why are they not just taking it for what it is written? And to reply to that, Cardinal Jean Danielou, he is telling the argument that he feels that the animal soul is somehow more degraded than the human soul, or that only humans have souls, animals do not have souls, or just the difference between the soul of an animal and a human being. And Srila Prabhupada is giving very logical explanations as to how the soul of an animal and a human being is the same. And he tries to explain that he's explaining the concept of soul by he's using the analogy of a person and his clothes, and the soul being the person, and the body, the exterior body, it is just clothing. So that is what it is in short. That is what is in those messages. So while I was reading the entire messages on the group, the entire series I was reading, so I just some points came to my mind, some realizations. So I would like to share them. So it actually, first of all, when I was reading that, it actually reminded me of my own struggle of with leaving meat. So I used to have, like everyone in my family used to have non-veg. And then 4 years ago, I realized it was 4 years ago that I stopped having meat. And only yesterday I realized, okay, it has actually been 4 years. And I had not even realized that it has been 4 years that I've stopped having meat. And I had had meat for the first 17 years of my life. So yeah, when I left meat, it was a very big struggle because my everyone in my family used to eat, and they were very like, why are you leaving meat? And now my mom was like, bhuke rahogi kya? And I was like, I would rather stay hungry than have that. So I had a lot of fights also, and it was a big struggle. And at first it was kind of a mutual understanding. I reached a middle ground with my mom as to acha theek hai, like if you're making non-veg, then I will just have the gravy part of it, and I won't have the pieces or whatever there is. And even that was a big fight. And after that, my mom was like, okay, fine, you can have this. And after that, when I went to college, so once I came to college, this problem, it was very easy for me because now I could choose to not have non-veg, and there were separate sections in my mess also. And even then, at home also, I didn't go home very regularly. We didn't get a lot of leaves. So like in a year, we get every 6 months we get 15 days of leave. So in those 15 days, whenever I would go home, my mom was mostly very happy that I'm in a college and I'm studying, and her lifelong dream that I'm going to be a doctor now. So she was very satisfied with this, and she was like, "अच्छा ठीक है, you don't want to have non-veg, don't have non-veg. मैं भी नहीं खाऊंगी. अब तो तुम बस 15 दिन के लिए आई हो, तो क्या ही है." And so these things, they would always happen to me. So, and I actually never, and I realized yesterday that at first it was such a big struggle for me to stop eating, because at first, even first of all, the struggle was that I wanted to have meat. And then when I got over that struggle, and I actually realized that how much in the mode of ignorance I was, and what I was actually doing while I was eating meat, I stopped that. Then the other struggle was fighting with my mom and everyone that I don't want to eat meat. Why are you forcing me? You cannot force me to have it. So that was the entire struggle. And then the entire year, whenever I was very this ki are aaj kuch ye ban jayega, and then what will I eat? So this struggle, but it was not that big of a struggle, because once I said I was rigid about my stance with my mom. So after that, even she got used to, okay, now I cannot do anything. She has made the decision, and now we just have to go like this. And then once I came to college, the struggle was completely worth it, I felt. And so yesterday, I was just thinking about the entire thing, and I actually realized that a few realizations that came to my point that why meat eating is why we should really stop having meat, and why food habits are there are so many food habits in Krishna consciousness. We should not have onion garlic, we should not have chocolate, not have mushrooms, no non-veg. So these kind of things, they are there, and you don't really understand the importance of these things. But I actually understood, because I could first of all, the changes in my behavior, they were very subtle and very less, and not many people could notice those changes. But overall, when I compare it in a long duration of time, when I stopped having non-veg, and when I started chanting, so these things, my behavior started changing slowly. And then people who were close to me, my friends, they were like कि सौम्या क्या हो गया, तू इतनी शांत क्यों हो गई है? My mom was like कि आजकल लड़ती नहीं है ज्यादा मेरे से, क्या हो गया है? And then even these things have only improved with time, actually, as I've started chanting more regularly, 16 rounds. Even nowadays my friends are like, so my first year se काफी change आ गया है तुझमें, and तू काफी understanding हो गई है, कैसा क्या है? I'm like, कुछ नहीं है. And then it's very not interested in getting into fights. And you don't really realize these small changes until it happens over a kind of bigger span of time. So I think that is how like your food habits and certain things, they impact your consciousness. Like I think the past, I think a month has happened. I have been trying to avoid having, like before in my mess, I would have onion in my salad in my mess for lunch or dinner. Whenever I would have salad, so they had cucumber, tomatoes, and onions. So I took the onion also. I did not think much in it. I was like, "Ki khane mein to hai, so how does it matter?" But then Amrish Babu, and one day we were just having this conversation that Amrish Babu also told us a lot of alternatives for tea, coffee, chocolate, and those things. And we were having this conversation. I thought that maybe I should just try, like what goes in trying. I'll try to not have the raw onion. And so I stopped taking the onion in the mess for the salad. It was such a small change. I think 1 or 2 pieces of onion I used to have. But then I stopped having them. And even that kind of contributed to the change. I think people could see the change in me. And even I felt better without having, I did not feel like something was missing in my food. And I thought that, okay, this is something that I can control in my meals. So I should be controlling. So I think this is how your food habits and these things, they impact your consciousness. And in fact, non-vegetarians, they don't even realize it, but they are so much in the mode of ignorance that if you actually start talking to them about that, what are they eating and whatever is happening to the animal, they'll be like, "Arey band kar, just stop it. I don't want to hear about this. Why are you guilt tripping me?" And then you're like, what is it about guilt tripping? You want to have it and you want to stay in ignorance. So then that is how much in the mode of ignorance they are. And until and unless you can actually get out of this mode of ignorance, how can you actually start to be compassionate, and how can you actually move ahead on your way in Krishna consciousness? So I was just realizing these things. And so yes, and this, and how Krishna, like even if you're facing very difficult circumstances, then first Krishna gives you the strength to face those circumstances. Like for now, I don't even understand how 4 years ago I was studying for my NEET, and still I had the strength to fight with my mom that no, I will not have non-veg. And I don't know how at that point of time I got the strength. And I think that it could not have been possible without Krishna's mercy, without his devotees' mercy on me. And somehow I did that thing, and that because I did it at that point of time, I was able to do it in my college. I don't know, maybe if I would have not stopped having non-veg at home, what would have stopped me from continuing the same in my college? So I was very happy that, okay, so Krishna gave me the strength to do that. And then whenever it says that you take one step towards Krishna, and Krishna takes 10,000 steps, 2,000 steps towards you. So any difficulty that you face for Krishna, Krishna will reciprocate with you. Even today, at times when Krishna is reciprocating with me, I always feel, what have I done? Like, I have not done anything to deserve these. Like Krishna, like all the devotees are there and they are doing so much for me. And what have I done to deserve it? I've done nothing. So even those small things, Krishna, he does take 1,000 steps towards you. Another thing that I noticed in the entire series, it was that this person, Cardinal Jean Danielou, so he had like people, they make so many misinterpretations out of the scriptures. They often say and do things which will just suit them, and they just take the meaning out of that. Like they take whatever meaning is convenient for them and ignore whatever is not convenient for them. Like he was very easy. It says that thou shall not kill, but it is convenient for them to be like, you're not supposed to kill humans, but you can kill animals because they are of the beastly nature. And they are saying this, but at the same time, when they are saying this, they do not really have some kind of backing up or some kind of logical explanation as to why are they doing what they're doing. I mean, Srila Prabhupada was replying to every question that that person was facing, was putting at him, and he was replying to everything very perfectly, and there was no doubt about, like, you cannot even cross question Srila Prabhupada. And even when you are cross questioning him, he is answering you with a very perfect answer. And in fact, my most favorite was even at the end. It said that Cardinal Daniel, he said, but why does God create some animals who eat other animals? There is a fault in the creation, it seems. So to prove their point, they will say that, okay, the problem is not with us, not with our interpretation. It is with God. He has created some fault in the creation. But even to that, Srila Prabhupada, he says it so beautifully. He says that it is not a fault. God is very kind. If you want to eat animals, then he'll give you full facility. God will give you the body of a tiger in your next life so that you can eat flesh very freely. Why are you maintaining slaughterhouses? I'll give you fangs and claws. Now eat. So the meat eaters are awaiting such punishment. The animal eaters become tigers, wolves, cats, and dogs in their next life to get more facility. So this is how beautifully Srila Prabhupada always has an answer for everything in all the books, and that is why the scriptures, they are so perfect, because it is actually, I think Avinash Prabhu had said once that it is perfect knowledge. There is an answer for everything, and there is, if you actually look for it, there is a perfect answer for everything. So that is my realization. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful, very nice, mother. The youngsters, perfect realizations, they're perfect, very nice realizations, very practical, implementing in your lives. That's the one. That's how you're going to impress other devotees, other people, make them devotees. That's the one. All the best to you. Okay, who would like to go next now? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I would like to go next.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Avinash Prabhu and Avinash Prabhu and Amrish Prabhu and all the Vaishnavas present here. Thank you for giving me this platform, and I hope you will bless me and forgive me, since this is my first realization. I'm going to speak on the shloka that Amrish Prabhu posted on the Hare Krishna weekend group, main group, on Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 3, verse number 30. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works onto me, with mind intent on me and without desire for gain and free from egoism and lethargy, fight. In this, the Lord is saying that we should surrender our work onto Him. Many people indeed follow this, but they forget that they also have to arpit the results to the Lord. People are attached to this results. People are attached to this results only. For example, a student who does a lot of hard work in studies, and when the time comes for the result, वो student अपने result से attached हो जाता है, thinking that I had done so much hard work, but then also the results मेरे हिसाब से नहीं आए. And by thinking all of this stuff, this student get depressed. Now the people will think that, okay, we will now surrender our results and our work to the Lord, and we will just lay back and relax and chill. But the Lord clearly mentions that we should not be lazy. We should give our best, and we also have to not get attached to the results. This I also try to follow to my very best. As a student, whenever there is some exams of mine or any important events, then I make sure to always pranama deities. एंड ये बोलता हूँ कि प्रभु आई हैव डन माई बेस्ट, द रेस्ट ऑल डिपेंड्स ऑन यू, वॉट एवर हैपन्स गुड और बैड आर सरेंडर टू यू, बिकॉज आई नो दैट वॉट एवर you will do it for my good. Now this has helped me a lot. I don't have to think about the future and fret over it. I know that the results are not up to me. The Lord is in control of this thing. I will just do my best. Thank you.
Very nice, Pratyush. Haribol, Pratyush Prabhu ki jai. You must speak more often. It's very nice. I have not taught you all those things. Avinash Prabhu has taught you these things. I'm not capable of saying these things. So good, wonderful. It's very inspiring to me. To give the results to Krishna. It's very wonderful. Very wonderful. If you perfect this, you'll be spiritually prosperous, materially also prosperous. Very nice. All the best to you. Okay, who'd like to go next now?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. If you not mind, I'll going to switch off the camera for a while. Some work is going on. I'm going to turn on in 5 minutes. I thought it would get over, but it seems
Okay, no problem. Please continue.
Yeah, I till then I'll continue. So basically, today also I have a theme attached to my realization. So the theme goes like that: Krishna never asks for what you can give to him, but he's going to test you on what you can hide from him, or what you hide from him. So basically, when why I am mentioning this line is because when I say that the things like maybe like cigarette or smoking cigarette or meat or seeing a very nice palatable seafood would not trigger me. Uh, and I would not be tempted by seeing girls or people going to a pub and drinking and dancing and having fun because of what I can say, my conditioning or my past life or whatsoever I can claim it to be. It doesn't pave the way for me to not enter into the test of Krishna, of the test that Krishna gives or the test that situation gives. So basically, this in past few days, I got one of the profound or one of the tests that triggered my life was attachment. And to exemplify that, when after one of the Saturday class, when I was having a conversation with Avinash Krishna Prabhu, and after the class he mentioned that when I was talking to him and mentioning my distresses, that Prabhuji, I feel that like when you love some people or you love your family, let's just say you love your friends, you tend to get attached to their life situations. You tend to help them. You want to help them. You want to be with them. You want to create good atmosphere for them, or you one or the other way you get attached to their to them or to their life situation. So he told me that Shruti, you are really getting attached to the fruit that the result will going to show up. And when this conversation happened, I realized, and he was in a way tough that time, that you are getting attached. You have to maintain, you can maintain love, like I maintain love, but not getting attached to the people and to their situation. So that time I wasn't I took that and I took it very nicely, but realization didn't happen that time. Realization really didn't happen that time. I was saying that yeah, Prabhuji, I'll going to definitely claim this. I'll definitely going to implement this all. But realization didn't happen that time. And then when Bhagavad-Gita 7:4 says that karmanya vadhikarasya ma phaleshu kadachana. So this whole thing is could be like I can totally agree on this point, but when it comes to practical implementations of all these things and being successful in maintaining those kind of um, relations where you can love people but not getting attached to the results of loving them is certainly very difficult. As I told you that the marathon would for somebody would be not drinking or like self-controlling them for not going into the pub or club, but Krishna will or the situation will going to show up the things or the test which will going to be as per your weak points, as per your uh, naivety, and thus it definitely showed uh, some things that I was weak in, some things that I have to work on in this lifetime maybe. And again, again, after this, when I say that in some situation I tend to maintain integrity and self-control, then also Krishna throws many of the hurdles in this path of, oh, you can maintain self-control. Shruti, let's check out how well you can maintain things or how well you can maintain your self-control and self-wisdom at that time. So undercoat seeing myself as a good girl, as somebody who has always been agyakari in Hindi. It is said. So life throws you those kind of situation where your self-control, your preconceived notions are being tampered, are being devastated. And in that situation, how you can realize that ultimately you have to surrender. Ultimately, you have no other option rather than to surrender. Yeah, I have to take an effort. I have to make the choices to choose between these kind of hurdles or be into that hurdles or choose Krishna. Alternative attachment, what I say, or getting detached but getting attached to Krishna is my choice. But having said that, uh, this is certainly what is very difficult in implementing this in practical life. Again, what more I am learning is the preconceived notion about my own self, about my own character, is re-establishing these days, is rebuilding these days. I am getting a new image or a new picture of how Shruti can be, how life is teaching me to have a broader vision of looking at the things. Like I have always been in a cocoon of shelter, or let's say being blessed or being happy in the atmosphere where I am. But this time, really, this is what real realization is like. Life has its own way, and it will going to show up the things that you have not experienced yet. But uh, yeah, again, Krishna will going to help you in all this situation. He's going to arrange things for you. As I went to Pune and things got arranged for me. But you have to have the wiseness to choose between 0 and 1, between Krishna and material conceptions and material things. And so, like, if I could summarize this, or if I could um, have a conclusion to what I am saying, is that my roots are re-establishing. It is getting cut off or chopped off by situation and Krishna, and being re-established, reinvented now as per time, place, and circumstances. And yeah, I am learning a lot of things these days, right from attachment, right from self-control, right from integrity. How can I maintain that? And yeah, so as Sheetal Prabhu mentions that it is uncomfortable to do things which doesn't come to you naturally. So the things are not coming to me naturally, but yeah, I'm learning. I'm learning to reestablish myself. Yeah, definitely. And looking at things on a practical platform rather than on a sentimental note. Yeah. Thank you. This is my correct.
Hare Krishna. Nice, nice. You youngsters are very lucky, you know. As I always say, you know, we wish we had this kind of tutoring or Prabhupada's message in our lives at early stages. I was searching so much at you people's age. So much I was searching. But anyway, better late than never. So you can always fall back upon these things, these teachings. Whenever life is going to throw a curveball all the time, always there's going to be. So you can always go back, fall back. Falling back on something is very important. Otherwise, you don't know what to do. Yeah. I remember we also in sales and negotiations, we have to be equipped with if some curve comes, so how are you going to react? So you require time to react. So what are you going to say? What are you going to speak to give you the time to react and think and analyze? These are all training, And even devotional service in preaching, you will use this. I have to use it in preaching more than in my material life. I can tell you that. So very nice. All the best to you. Okay. Who would like to go next now? Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. My realization is on Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 7, verse 7. It's one of the verses that I really liked it when it first came to my reading. So the verses are Mattah parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya Mai sarvam idam prutam sutre mani gana eva. The translation. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. Why I really like this verse is because it was pretty clear to me, like the translation and what it meant. Like I thought it was so straightforward that there is nothing superior to me. There is no truth superior to Krishna, as Krishna is saying it. And I really like this verse, and I was meditating a lot on it some time ago, and I was thinking that we take it so much for granted that really everything is the product of Krishna, and Krishna has very intelligently designed this entire world around us, and we take it so much for granted. And I was thinking also about how we're reading in the Nectar of Instructions text too, that returning to when we talk about a simplistic lifestyle, people always think that we're talking about returning to the primitive times or to a poorer lifestyle. But we don't realize that in the olden times or in the Vedic times, how efficient things were and how we didn't need these artificial necessities that we've created, because Krishna has created such an efficient world for us. And this became evident to me as I actually visited a water treatment plant a couple of days ago, because my father is a civil engineer in a government body. So basically, he governs the water treatment of the Yamuna River, because there is a huge leading problem of Yamuna and the water becoming extremely polluted over there. So he just wanted to, kind of show us what a water treatment plant looks like, and we went there, and it's such a huge mechanism that goes into just drinking a small amount of water so that we can drink it. Like there are at least 8 different buildings and structures that just, treat the water to first remove the impurities and then create a perfect level of, pH in the water. Because right now the Yamuna water, the river, the water of the Yamuna river is so polluted that you can't even take a bath in it. Like it's not healthy to do that. So as I was looking through all of those structures, and my father was explaining what everything does, and it was so complicated. Like I was so astounded by so much effort goes into just creating a water that's healthy for us to drink. And at the end of the entire tour, my father explained it to me that none of this would be required. We wouldn't have to do any of this if just we had like a free flowing river, just like how it's supposed to be. It's just that we've created dams around the river, and that's why we've destroyed the way rivers were supposed to exist in the nature. And that's why all of this paraphernalia, all of this mechanical structure is going into it. Otherwise, if we let nature be the way it was supposed to be, we could directly drink from the river, because the way the river flows, the flow of the river itself purifies the water. And because the water is generally flows under sunlight, and the sunlight is so potent that it also helps in the purification of the water. So he was saying that there are so many things that we've obstructed in the nature's way, in Krishna's design of how nature is supposed to be. That's why we're struggling so much. And I was thinking about it, that it's so idiotic that we're so proud of our so-called solutions to the problems. Like we human beings, we've constructed dams, or we've constructed so many things, and we're so proud of it. But then they lead to other problems, and then when we solve those problems again, we're proud of it. But it's a cycle that we started ourselves by not subscribing to the way Krishna meant this world to exist. And it was the entire water plant was designed in a way that they would use gravity. Like if they had to transport water from one place to another, they would construct it in such a way that the water can flow directly from a higher place to a lower place. Because to go against gravity is so much labor. It requires a lot of power, because then you have to put a motor and everything like that. And I was thinking that we think we have to put in so much effort to go against the energies of Krishna, and we think that we're so smart that everything is just everything that has just happened by chance, and the nature is just created like that. But to go against that, we require so much intelligence and so much labor. So we never think that we never think that to create this nature, so much intelligence would have gone in. We just assume that it must have happened that way, but it takes so much effort for us to exist in an artificial way right now, and we never appreciate. And I was thinking that Krishna is saying in the translation of it, that it's written that everything rests upon him like pearls on a string. And I was thinking that's a very generous description of the current situation, because we're dependent on Krishna for everything. Like to say that we just pearls on a string is also him being too kind, because we're depending on him for everything. And I feel like anybody who studies the ways in which this world works, and the ways in which scientific things happen or reactions happen, I don't think there is any way that you can come to a conclusion that God does not exist, or that everything has just come by chance. Or if you really truly inspect the way things are happening, everything is happening. If you truly genuinely try to understand it, there is no way you can come to a conclusion that God does not exist, and that he's so extremely kind and loving. And on top of that, another thing that I just wanted to mention, that like we try to control and manipulate so many things, and one of the very foremost things I was thinking about is the concept of probability, that we read so much, that we're taught a lot about probability. And as we like, if you specialize in mathematics, it's like a whole branch. And if you think about it, it's just it's just us trying to predict what's going to happen, or manipulate the events, or try to determine the outcome without regarding the fact that it's really not in our control. And what's the most interesting story I remember about this is that when I was being taught probability by my mathematics teacher, so he was I think he was a kind of a devotee of Lord Ram, not the exact words, but yeah, he used to pray to Lord Ram a lot. And so the way he used to teach us is that if we were ever low on energy and things like that in our class or getting bored, he would make us chant the names of Lord Ram, the Jai Shri Ram. Say it with me. And that's how he used to teach us. And it was a really interesting class. So when he was teaching us probability, he was explaining a concept to us that we think that there is a fan over our head. And there are only two things that can happen. Either the fan will stay on the roof or it will fall on our head. So we'll say that it's a 50-50 probability because either one of those things can happen. But it doesn't really work like that. Because if you observe, say, 100 million fans, we can't say that 50% of those fans are falling on our heads. Only 99% of those falls, or 99% of the fans are on their ceilings, but only 1% of those fans are falling. So the probability doesn't really work like we think it works. But he said that only 1% of the fans are falling on people's head, but we have no way of determining who that 1% is going to be. For that, we have to depend on Lord Ram. Those were his exact words, that because we just try to calculate the probabilities or try to manipulate the things, but anytime at any given instant, anyone could be in that 1%. So the very motive of calculating probability is futile. This is my maths teacher talking. He was supposed to teach me these things, and he's saying that it's completely futile. It's just us trying to, go against the ways of God. So it's very interesting to me that we as a civilization, we try so hard to deny the existence of Krishna and to appreciate the beautiful and the efficient world that he's created around us. But there is really no way that we can exist without him. And the faith is there, whether you acknowledge it or not. Everyone is having faith that the fan on their head will not fall on them. So without acknowledging that, you have that faith. So that's my realization. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Mother. Very good. Very good. With the water treatment, Yamuna is very significant, Mother Yamuna, Jahnavi. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhāgavatam too, of her importance and how from Hastinapur it became two tributaries, Originally it is Ganga only, Mother Ganga. But still, anyway, so Mother Yamuna is very significant. In the very extreme old Puranas, in Bhagavad Puran, in old cases, the references of people meditating underneath the Yamuna. It was so pure. Yamuna is very pure, and with the pastimes of Krishna and Vrindavan on the banks of the river Yamuna, it's very important. But as you say, it's so sad to see. But during COVID times, even in Vrindavan, the Yamuna river became very pure because they could see the purity. Because the fact is, it stopped. This is what it is. You correctly said. That we are ourselves creating problems, material problems, and we're trying to solve material problems materially, which will never be possible. And create another material problem. And the probability teacher, how come he's still not protest against him? It'll come in television and all that by now. Somebody would say that he is against my religion and I don't believe in Ram, I believe in Shiva and all those things, It become politically correct situation nowadays in India, But it's good. He was a devotee. That's why you could understand it very well. Devotee touch was there. Probability. Very nice. All the best. Jai. Okay, who would like to go next?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Please accept my obeisances to all the Vaishnavas here. Thank you, Ambrish Prabhu. Thank you, Avinash Prabhu, for giving me this platform. Thank you to all the devotees who've been patiently waiting and listening for all the Vaishnavas to speak up. Thank you so much. So just starting off, just because Ambrish Prabhu just right now said that you cannot solve material problems materially. I think Prabhupada also quotes that somewhere in his book, says that there is also, just would like to add, there is also a mathematical law which says that if you have a defined set of problems or numbers or whatever, not every possible solution of that set of problems can be found through that set. Like if you want to, there will be at least one or more than one question arising from things within the set that will require a solution which is beyond the set. So that is a mathematical law. So like just wanted to correlate, like we correlate Newton's law of action and reaction to law of karma. So this is also very much relevant in mathematics as well. So anyway, to start off, so Prabhu, I also there was this so you sent a message on the intermediate group and the message, just latest message. It said that it is Srila Prabhupada's quote, and he's saying the Bhagavad-Gita clearly says, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha drivrita. Bhagavad-Gita 9.14. According to this verse, it is the duty of the Mahatmas to chant the Hare Krishna mantra and try to spread it all over the world to the best of their ability. Right? So this is what I'm basing my realization on. And I think Jai Desai Prabhu went before, so he was not able to, like, he did not just tell a common theme as you always say. So as this realization program also, there is a common theme. I think it is related to preaching, kind of spreading the message of the holy name around. So I think this could be a common theme of this program. Anyway, so so this quote, Prabhu, it mentions that there are two duties of the Mahatmas, which is one is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra constantly, and then second is spreading it all over the world. So both are very important. Now chanting is on, like, we can do in our place, in office, in work, on a mountain, wherever, right? But the spreading of the message of of Krishna, it's a very specialized like thing, and very few people are in it. Like Hare Krishna weekend, and there are some limbs of there are some organizations which are doing that, like preaching work, right? So based on this thought, when I was thinking on this, I was meditating on it. It took me to a point of time wherein I was having a conversation with a devotee of Lord Krishna, Vishnu, and he was telling me that like we were just having a conversation. He told me that bhakti comes naturally to a soul, to a entity. It just comes naturally. You don't have to take effort for it, which is okay. And to further his point, he told me like he was just saying that actually it is written nowhere in the scripture that you need to go out and preach, because Krishna is there. You are a soul. Krishna is the father. You are the prodigal son. So it all connects. Like you're not supposed to preach. Krishna is there to take care. You're just supposed to just do whatever you're doing, and Krishna will automatically bring you back to him, because this is how the world is supposed to work. You're Krishna's son and fragmental part and parcel. After all, how can he just forget you, right? He will just bring you back to him slowly and slowly over millions of lifetimes. And that hit a chord. Not that Krishna will bring us back after millions of lifetimes. That is perfectly fine. But that there is nothing written in the scriptures about preaching. So that I was like, okay, we talk so much about preaching. We read in Prabhupada's book so much about preaching. But is there somewhere written in the scriptures that actually we need to go out and preach? So I had this question, genuine question. So I did some research on my own before I contacted Avinash Prabhu, when I was completely out of options and baffled completely. So I read in Prabhupada's book that Prabhupada quotes 18.68 to 18.71, the verses, Bhagavad-Gita, wherein it is said that, I'll just open that up. So I'll just read the translations, and it is said that for one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, devotional service is guaranteed. And at the end, he will come back to me. Then in 18.69, he's saying there is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. And then 70, he says, and I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation worships me by his intelligence. So these three verses Prabhupada are quoting in books and purport by saying that, you need to go out there and preach. But then I had a question. In 18.67, just a verse before 18.68, Krishna says that this confidential knowledge may not be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. And this also somehow connects to the 9th offense, which is like you should not preach to the faithless, right? Then I had a question that, okay, so 18.67, Krishna is saying that this knowledge, okay, Krishna is saying in 18.68 to 70 that go out and preach this message. But then 18.67, he's saying that preach this message to the to people who are devoted or austere or engaged in devotional service, nor to the one who is envious of me. Right. So I had this doubt. Now, this is where I was like exhausted. I was like, no more mental speculation. I need to go to a bona fide source, as Ambrish Prabhu says, bona fide source. So I called up Avinash Prabhu. I think Avinash Prabhu might remember this conversation. It was late at night, early morning in New Zealand. And I was talking to Avinash Prabhu. I'm baffled. I'm not understanding how can there be no mention of preaching in scriptures. We are so heavily dependent on preaching. Why is there no mention? So Avinash Prabhu started the conversation. And he asked me, where did you get it from? Why do you have this question? And I told him everything. But then he told me, number one point, you should remember that preaching is for us. And that connects, right? Ambrish Prabhu stresses on this point a lot. And I think previous class also Ambrish Prabhu told us that most I think it was Sheetal Prabhu and Ambrish Prabhu's discussion. And there the point came up that preaching is mostly for us. It is for our benefit first. Rather, if you think it is for others' benefit, then we can have very subtle level of ego and all of false ego come in, right? So first, preaching is for our benefit. We should understand that. So that Avinash Prabhu said. And later in the conversation, Avinash Prabhu also told that, but however, although Krishna he said that although Krishna says that don't give this confidential message to those who are envious of him, he told me that there are devotees that at their own risk give this confidential message to those who are envious of him at their own risk, because they care for the well-being of other devotees. And we read that in so many books of, let's say there was Shukdev Goswami who preached the message, not to non-devotees, but he preached the message. There is Narada Muni, there is Prahlad Maharaj who's preaching this message, right? And then when I thought of that, and after the call ended, in the call only, so Avinash Prabhu we also discussed about Narada Muni. He comes in a parampara, right? He comes in the parampara. And we follow our acharyas. We follow in the footsteps of acharya. So Narada Muni is a very big, like he's the greatest preacher basically, right? He preaches in universes. We cannot even fathom. Like he gives bhakti in various multiverses, basically, if you want to term it in pop culture. So if Narada Muni, and when we read Narada Muni's story, let's say of Mrigari. So I read this story long before, like Narada Muni and Mrigari. There was this, he was a hunter, he used to half kill animals and leave them like that. And Ambrish Prabhu also touched on this story. And Narada Muni told him to chant Krishna's name. Now Mrigari was not he was not devoted, he was envious. He was doing, not envious exactly, but he was not doing the Lord's work in like that way. So he was not a devotee. And Narada Muni still told him the message. And Narada Muni is a very elevated personality, so not to compare. Don't need to imitate, we need to follow, right? So, but Narada Muni did this. And then in the same conversation, Avinash Prabhu also quoted that Narada Muni did this, it's okay. But then in the Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj, who's the disciple of Narada Muni, in his discourse in Bhagavatam, I think Avinash Prabhu mentioned this, 7.6.24, the verse, Tasmat Sarveshu Bhuteshu Dayam Kuruta Sauhridam Bhavam Asuram Unmucha Yaya Tushyati Adokshajah. The translation is, therefore, my dear young friends born of demons, please act in such a way that the Supreme Lord, who is beyond the conception of material knowledge, he will be satisfied. Give up your demoniac nature and act without enmity or duality. Show mercy to all living entities by enlightening them in devotional service, thus becoming their well-wishers. Now, this is Prahlad Maharaj's direct instruction, right? And it is quoted in the Bhagavatam. And the last word is well-wishers. And that connected me to Prabhupada always writing in his letters, your ever well-wisher, right? So since we come in the parampara, and this is Prahlad Maharaj's instruction, then I connected, okay, so it is there in the scriptures that we need to go out there and, preach. So this was there. And second thing that I would like to just mention here is just connected to this is that I was browsing through this YouTube, and YouTube gives up this suggestions based on its artificial intelligence, like whatever that suggestions based on your viewed activity. So I was apparently, I don't know why, but I was getting videos from apparently there are channels which are dedicated to spread atheism. So now these channels have the agenda that there are so many channels dedicated to preaching Lord's message of Jesus Christ, of Prophet Muhammad, of Krishna, or whatever. But there is no channel who is spreading atheism, right? So we need to take on this garb of spreading atheism. But the point is, they don't say that it is atheism; they say it is science. So they have science in their name, like science for all, science is dope, and stuff like that. So there are scientific channels apparently, and then they spread this message of science, and in that entire channel is filled with debunking astrology, debunking Vedas, debunking this, debunking Hinduism, Krishna is fake, Lord Ram never existed. All of the channel is filled with that. Now I was like, okay, so it's not just we who are focused on preaching. These people are also having an agenda to preach. These people believe that we exist for no reason at all. We are just structures of molecules, right? Cells. So if you have no agenda, then why do you have the agenda to preach your agenda? So this made no sense. So just wanted to connect. Now coming to a later, so after this, after the call with Avinash Prabhu was done, and I read this, I got this reference in Bhagavatam. So I connected, I started my own summary, which I will summarize here and just end my realization. So obviously, so I what I meditate and got upon is, so the ninth offense is to not preach to the unfaithful. That is there, absolutely. But from all this information, I think that there are like not, I think maybe Amrish Prabhu, after this he can correct me, there are two categories even in non-devotees. One is the ignorant, and I think Amrish Prabhu also touched on this point. One is the ignorant, who may have never heard of Krishna or have, little information about Krishna. Like he may have never, he's just ignorant. And the other is who already knows about Krishna, but has no faith, or like his faith is somewhere else. He has no faith on Krishna, or his faith is somewhere else. I think that the bar is to preach to the second category of ignorant people who know about Krishna, but don't want to worship Krishna, and or they have faith somewhere else. But to even to these kind of people, like Prabhupada, like he used to cook prasadam and offer prasadam. So because they don't want to listen, but at least they can accept prasadam. And I think Sheetal Prabhu also mentioned this point way back somewhere, that if there are people who are envious, who know about Krishna, don't want to have to do anything with Krishna, or their faith is somewhere else, at least in the name of prasadam or free food, they can accept it and get purified. That is the mercy of the Lord. So this is for ignorant. But for the innocent people, for the innocent people who have never heard about Krishna's name or don't know about Krishna, we can still go out there if they're interested, and if there is an open conversation, we can still go out there and try to tell them like about Krishna, or make them aware of Krishna and about what they're doing in life, and not in the sense of making them aware of Krishna, but bettering their own life, right? So, but obviously, like all of this should be done taking in consideration that our sadhana is not affected and our faith should not shake. Because when we talk to these kind of people out there in the world, the worst thing that happens is sometimes in trying to bring them to Krishna, we go away from Krishna. Like our faith shakes when we listen to their opinions and when we listen to their agendas. Like that used to happen. So this was what I basically summarized, and this was my realization. I hope I did not go too fast, and I hope I made sense, because there was a lot of things. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, nice part as usual. Very good realizations. Many points there. As you asked me to respond on a few things. The first thing is that preaching is done only at the Madhyamadikari stage. Preaching is not done at the Kanishtadikari stage and at the Uttamadikari stage. This will be taught to you in your nectar of instruction. It will come. These verses will come. So when we are new, we cannot preach. We shouldn't be preaching. Second thing is this, that whenever we are preaching, we should be preaching on behalf. It's very important. It's not our preaching. No, it's not our preaching. So third thing is this, that you had asked a question. That's when we started our question answer program, with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This preaching started with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he inaugurated the Sankirtan movement. And also there are two kinds of devotees, Bhajananandi and Goshti Anandi. So we are Goshti Anandis. We go out and we talk to people When some of us can say, no, I just like to sit in one place and chant, no problem, you can do that too. Perfectly all right. No problem. So you'll find that sometimes devotees are in Vrindavan, they stay in Vrindavan only, and they do the bhajan kriya. When devotees will come, they support them and, do all those things. That's all right. Good for them. But going out and creating devotees is the most of its part, because you will not have numbers. Like, for example, if you have an ISKCON temple programs, hundreds of people will be there in their Zoom programs or whatever, YouTube, because they're already converted. So there are two kinds again in that: preaching to the non-converted and preaching to the converted. So preaching to the converted means they're already converted. They're always going to say Hari Bol and be enthusiastic about things. But if that's the case, then who will teach to preach to not converted? So that's what we do, non-converted. Very hard. Our post will have hardly any likes. People will hardly understand. It's a drag. It's a big drag. It's a real. If you really want to purify yourself, then you go where people are not interested in Krishna consciousness and preaching to them. It's a real drag. At every stage, it is drag. Every stage. You have to put every resources from your pocket all the time, and from your body all the time. And return is very less. So much effort, return is only very minimal. But that's what we do, That's what we do. It's a tough one. It's not everybody's cup of tea. So most of them like to do so much effort and so many response, We've got so much response, so much effort and so much less response. So because again, preaching again, Mahaprabhu has been preaching. That's right. He sent Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas to go and preach, But at the same time, there are sampradaya authorities who did not preach, like Srila Gaur Kishoras Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj. He never preached. He never wanted to preach. So the world is not worth preaching. Nothing is going to happen to them. Forget about them, But the mood of preaching comes from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. So he is the one who established hundreds of temples, system of preaching, the first initiation, and all those things, And some system, which was then followed by Srila Prabhupada, That's how it followed. You understand this point? Yeah. And if you see that words of Krishna saying, he says, those who teach this knowledge to my devotees, devotional service is guaranteed. So to my devotees, he's saying, he did not say to everyone. So that's why you have to first make them into devotees and then preach them. That's why we never give you Bhagavad-Gita straight away. We give Bhagavad-Gita as a second step. Now you understand? First we create concepts of Bhagavad-Gita. And when you are excited about it, when you are confirmed about it, then we go to Bhagavad-Gita there. This is just my thinking, my Guru Maharaj, So this is how we create situations. And that's true. The devotees, as I written down, who was referring to that point today. The Prabhupada said that, Avinash Krishna was saying this, that although Krishna says no, devotees are taking the chance and preaching. Somebody preached to us, isn't it? That's why Prabhupada's books are very critical. If you want to associate with a pure devotee, read his books. Best original books. If you don't know original books, don't worry. Read any books. Don't worry about those things. But original books best. And he'll talk to you. It's like this. Moment he speaks to you, every day if you get into this habit of doing it, your day will fall into place. Your life falls into place. If you don't do it, it'll be a bit of a haywire. It's an open secret. And you can meet Prabhupada straight up. Prabhupada there, yes, let's talk. Prabhupada starts to talk to you personally, And you will not become institutionalized consciousness. Your consciousness will change to Krishna consciousness. That's what he taught. You'll not realize this point right now. You still have to go through many stages of experiences in life with institutions too. But you will realize this, that institutionalized consciousness is again distraction in Kali Yuga. It's very personal. Like Mirabai did not have an institution. She was a personal. Tukaram, same. Maharaj, personal. There was an institution which he followed to get a certificate to say that, okay, he's earning. There was no ISKCON then, or whatever it is. Similarly, the same issues with us also, the Hare Krishna weekend. That's why I didn't want to make it an institution. Although we are, but we are not. You see? So nobody can hold it. You say, yeah, Hare Krishna weekend institution, yes. But how is it? There are many hearts, you know. If there's an institution, there's one heart. You can catch hold of that neck and kill it, you know. Strangle it, it's dead. Institution finished. Here there is somebody catches my neck, institution continues. Because as Avinash Prabhu is preaching, his team is there. Srila Prabhu is teaching, his team is there. Sanjay Prabhu's team is there. And all of you in the future, after 8 years, 9 years, when you are in that stage, when your tutors are good enough, they think you're good enough, then you will have. So even if somebody strangles them, program will go on. So we are visible and invisible. It's a concept. As I told you before, we are a concept. So that's why preaching is very critical. And it has to be done in a very delicate way. A very, very delicate way. You cannot do it in a very haphazard manner. That's why knowledge has to be given in a haphazard. It cannot be given in a haphazard manner. Those who want to come and gain knowledge haphazardly, they will not fit in with us. They will not fit. We are an education institution. And as Avinash Prabhu said, we are creating community in that. Like-minded people. So those who are not fitting education, they will not fit in there at all. They won't fit in. If they want here, there, they'll be gone. You know. So these are a few dynamics behind it. Hopefully they should give some more information and sense. It will be revealed as time progresses, you know, on this. But preaching is for us. It is for me, for my wife, my son. So Avinash Prabhu, his wife, his children. Srila Prabhu, his wife, his daughter. Sanjay Prabhu, his wife, his children. You in the future, if you're all you want to be, then for your family, yourself. Engagement is very important. It's very different. Revolutionary, actually. We own everything, but we don't own anything. I don't own anything. It's your group, you're preaching. By the same time, you're part of us. Nobody can force it. And this is a challenge to us, to be detached, and preaching will progress. It's not going to work where everything is in one control and say, yes, this is how it should be. From head office, things will go. Only then it will happen. You require this resolution, that resolution, then finish. That's what is happening today in ISKCON. Excuse me, not any other organization also, but it's an example of it, right? Because people they don't thinking, they want intelligence. You know, you study Prabhupada books, use intelligence. All of you give such nice realizations, man. You cannot force it to say speak like this only. It doesn't work like that. So how can you have one-structural things, you know? Yeah, you'll see this way. Even education, formal education, material education is going to change in this way. Take it from me. It'll change in this way. You cannot have formalized education. It's gone. Those days are gone. After COVID, it's going to be even more like this. All right. Wonderful. Hare Krishna. Okay, who would like to go next?
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you to all the devotees for the nice inspirational realizations. Thank you, Amrish Prabhuji, for providing us this forum to discuss and learn about Krishna. I have a very small realization this week. So I guess, yeah, ever since moving out of home, I've been struggling to do the Pandava Ekadashi, Nirjala Ekadashi. And this time when it came around, I said, okay, no, I have to do it, whatever happens. Because usually at home, you know, you have devotees, you've got, the environment is there that, okay, you have to do that. It's like a celebration almost. It's like a festival. So like you just go along with it and you don't think about it much. But yeah, this time I was like, I said, no, I have to do it no matter what happens. Whether I make it or not make it, I have to. Okay, I will do Nirjal Vrat, nothing else. So I prayed to Krishna, you know, I said, Krishna, I'm making the decision. And I'm leaving the rest to you. And multiple times throughout the whole day, I just felt, oh, so thirsty, so hungry. My tummy was grumbling. So I would go and just bow down in front of Krishna and pray to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev. I said, please make me forget about this. So let me focus on Krishna. And actually, I felt closer to Krishna in that sense, because I felt he was giving me strength to carry on and not think about cooking or eating or drinking water. So yeah, it was nice, because after a long time I felt, okay, I can do this with Krishna's mercy. And then I was reading the verse that was shared in the wecan WhatsApp group of Bhagavad-Gita chapter 3 verse 30. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya chetasa nirasir nirmamo bhutva yudyasva vigata jaraha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, O Arjun, surrendering all your works unto me, with mind intent on me, and without desire for gain, and free from egoism and lethargy, fight. And then just the first few lines of the purport that Srila Prabhupada writes really hits home quite well. So this verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad-Gita. The Lord instructs that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties, as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, I just felt that in my life, and I just said, okay, I'll make the decision, and whatever the result is, Krishna, please take care. And felt closer to Krishna and chanting more. And yeah, I'm missing all the Devotees Association, obviously, in person. So been a long time. So I'm praying to Krishna again that I can visit and get the association again, which would be very nice. But yeah, just a small realization. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Nice, Mother. Hare Krishna. I think you're going to get association very soon. You're going to have 3 days of good association of your parents coming through. But you must come here. You must come here in Auckland. Spend some time.
I think it's long overdue to come here in Auckland now.
Yes, Mataji. Please pray for us so that we may visit. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you can come back when they're coming back from India. You can join them back here.
Yes.
Very nice. All the best to you. All the best.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Sorry to interrupt. Thank you. Before I could speak, you both speak, Prabhu. So I'm so fortunate. I'm feeling so good now. Means I don't have to respond. You both responded. So this is not ordinary. So my relation, what she was telling on that day, we were talking continuously that why we're having Nirjali. Why are having Nirjali? You have to go to work, go to do this. Means we protect, as a parents. And she I'm going to do it. And she was actually cooking for her husband. He was eating, she was not eating. I think this is even harder to actually do Nirjala Ekadashi on that day. So yes, she was very determined, and I think when in the afternoon when he spoke to her, she was not looking tired, she was not looking thirsty, and she was all good. So that lot of strength she derives from all of us actually, the devotees, and particularly you, Amrish and Mataji. I feel so nice that Pradhan Gopika is so lucky. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. We are all very lucky to have young devotees who can continue the mission, Yeah. Prabhupada also were very, very concerned. Will this continue? Will this continue? Next generation will continue, So Prabhupada was very concerned also. Similarly, of course, we were a little concerned. Now we are satisfied. The youngsters will continue, even after we are finished. Dead and buried or burnt long ago, finished, handful of ashes. This much. Amrish, handful of ashes. It's gone somewhere, put in water or merge in the earth, no problem. Finished. The thought remains. Thought is more powerful. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. Who like to continue? Please feel
I'll
free.
tell you one more thing. Suchi Mata's realization, Divyansi realization, path realization. These people actually, all of them, I'm sorry I have to share this. They actually in their own family, and they're actually trying to preach them. And they talk to me individually, and we talk in the group also. And similar kind of situation that what we do, Prabhu. And when actually Parth was referring so many times, I was getting nervous. When did I speak like this? So yeah, they're trying to understand, they're trying to practice, and they're not trying to. None of them actually independent. They want to go preach, go out and preach. They're actually taking a lot of guidance from all of us. And I always tell them, don't ask me, ask Amrish Prabhu. No, I do, Prabhu. That's me. So yeah, so this is where they actually they keep talking. How do I preach them? How do I tell them? I like Soumya Mataji. I think she has to leave for some reason. She's also same situation. All those meat eating situation. Yeah. So this atmosphere actually helping them. That's why they show up all the time. Yes, very lucky to Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I think we should also have memories program showing once in a while, Prabhupada memories. We'll show that too. Okay, who would like to go next now? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for your nectarian realizations. And, I was just, when Avinash Krishna Prabhuji was saying about all these young devotees giving such wonderful realizations, there is so many themes, but there is one common theme. I think Pradhan Gopika Mataji, if you remember, we used to talk about these things, and we were just maybe sometimes just 3 or 4 of us, and the Matajis after the Saturday program. And now there are all these wonderful devotees that you have all created who are talking about the same things. And I just want to share one. I'll just quote one verse first and then just share. It's so relevant to this theme. So just give me 2 minutes. So this is from Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 9, verse 28. Shubha Shubha Phalerevam Moksha Se Karma Bandhane Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimukto Mamupasyase. I'll just read the translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. So we were discussing this verse in our Wednesday program as well. And I thought it was quite relevant to the theme that is going on today. And I just remember, that Srila Prabhupada's, one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, I've mentioned this earlier as well, has written actually a book on this. What is the difficulty? So here it goes that when you compare yourself, you're doing all these austerities, and then you also compare. If you look just away from you in the material life, for example, we try to get up early in the morning to perform Mangal Aarti. Then, we don't eat certain things. Then we eat only certain things. Then we have certain association. All these things, we are trying to do all these things are also being done by people who are not maybe following Krishna consciousness, but in their material lives. There are people who, by choice, do get up early in the morning, and the reasons would be for health reasons, by choice, or sometimes it's made compulsory, because you have to get up early in the morning because of your work or whatever the reason is. Then even small things like Srila Prabhupada says, you take a cold shower. I'm sure in the cold countries it's not possible so much, but in winter, but that is also a concept, if you see in the health world, that it definitely helps you to wake up, and it helps your body if you take a cold shower and all those things. So everything that Srila Prabhupada has actually given us as a lifestyle, or given us as these things that we have to do so that we can progress on our Krishna conscious path. Just from my personal experience, I think that you can either look at it as all these hurdles that you have to cross, or you can look at it as what is it that I can do and what is it that I cannot do. So in a lot of motivational lectures and which we used to have back in our college days, I do remember that in life you have things that you can do and you can control, and things that you cannot do and you cannot control. So what is it that you want to focus on is very, very important. And here the difference is that you're not actually doing it for your own self. You're trying to do it. Yes, you are doing it for your own self so that you can progress in Krishna consciousness, but in a way you are doing it as offering to Krishna, and that is the beauty of it. So just from my little experience, I have learned one thing, that if I focus on what I can do, then what I cannot do just goes away. It just goes away out of my thinking. It doesn't matter anymore after a certain point of time. And there is always an option, like devotees are mentioning, there's always an option which Krishna then makes available to us, till the point of time that we don't even need that. So I was so inspired by everyone's enthusiasm to come to a point where they want to be perfect in their Krishna consciousness, and just listening to these things, we have gone through these struggles ourselves as well. So it's so much very we can so much very resonate with what everyone is experiencing. And this has definitely helped me, because if we focus on what we can do, then there's so much you can achieve. And just by sharing your realizations with each other as well, like I remember when we used to have our exams at that time, if your exams were not very well, then when you come out of the exam, at the time when you're giving your exams, you really feel I don't know what's going to happen. This is really bad. I prepared myself so much, as Pratyush was saying, you prepare yourself so much, and then the result, we don't know, like, when you're writing the paper, that this is not what I expected, this is not good. But when you come out and when you talk to your friends, and when they also feel the same, then you feel a little better, you feel, oh, that's okay, I'm not alone, we all are sailing in the same boat. So this is what I think, it's just a subtle thing with all of us, that it just makes your how do you say, your difficulties a lesson, just because everybody else is feeling the same. So this is thing, when you hear all these realizations from devotees, which they're so kindly sharing, it's so nice, because it's not very easy to share how you feel. And I really, really appreciate all you young devotees sharing it. And you feel comfortable to share your realizations. So we can also learn, it's never, the learning process never stops. And we also get inspired by your enthusiasm. So I would just like to, just on that note, just like to really say that the one thing that has helped me is we've always thought this way, that okay, especially this is how we used to talk in the Namahata also when we were doing the programs. Say for example, you can't eat chocolate. Okay, that's fine. What can you eat? What's the option? And then focus on what you can, and then what you can't is kind of, it goes out of the way. So we have become so innovative in our programs about what we could just cooking, just simple thing, cooking. What are the things that you can do? And it's just amazing. I mean, I don't even remember what were the things that we used to eat, and because we don't miss them anymore. So similarly in life, in association as well, when you go, even if you are in your material life, you do choose your association. I do remember when we were young, we were told that you have to choose your association. Who your friends are define you. Who are you associating with? Are they also as are they studying? Are they interested in studying? What is the goal of their life? Or are you associating with students who are not interested in studying? That's going to influence how you're going to do your own studies and all that. And at that time, I used to not so much understand. I used to understand, but not so much. But now I understand why, because definitely association is the A of devotional service. So everything in material life also we're choosing, but when it comes to spiritual life, then it becomes difficulty. And this is, I'm telling you from my personal experience. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, this is, so but we are already doing that in our material life as well. When you go to work as well, you choose who are you working with. You go and choose which organization you're going to work for. It's everything is there. So yeah, I just think that it just broadened my perspective, that actually in material life also we're doing a lot of austerities. When we are studying, we all either get up very early in the morning, we probably don't sleep sometimes, and we're doing all those things. So similarly for festivals, we do the same thing. So we can apply the same methodology or logic in our life. It's only that the plus point is that when you're doing it for Krishna, then there's so much benefit, and the miracles definitely happen. There is no question about it. And I'll just give a small realization by one of the devotees of Srila Prabhupada, disciples of Srila Prabhupada, that there was this devotee who was told by Srila Prabhupada that if you distribute books, then Lord Chaitanya will come and hug you, personally. He'll be very pleased with you. So the devotee was saying, oh, okay, so this is what it is. And he did, at the time of his passing, he was having this realization that must have distributed some books, a lot of books of Srila Prabhupada, and he had a realization. He was given a Shila by one of the other devotees, and they were chanting for him and everything like that. And this devotee said that Lord Gauranga is there, and this was at his time of passing. And so the devotees asked him, so what are you saying? And then he said yes, and he's asking me to take the Shila with me. And it seems that when the devotee passed, when he left his body, the Shila wasn't there after that. And then the devotee who was observing said that, every single word that Srila Prabhupada says is so true. It's us who doubt it, But Srila Prabhupada has said this, that Lord Chaitanya will come. And he said that Lord Gauranga is here. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. And this is the beauty of Srila Prabhupada. So whatever Srila Prabhupada has written in his books, it is so true. There is no question about it. As devotees have shared, you associate with Srila Prabhupada's books, and that is it. And I'm I feel so inspired by all you young devotees, because I feel that Krishna consciousness came very late to me. Maybe I wasn't I didn't deserve to have it at the age that you all are having. So you all are so fortunate because it gives you the direction of how you should be living your life. And you have such deep realizations. You will never go wrong, you'll never go wrong. So yeah, thank you very much. It's just so amazing to see all your wonderful devotees, young devotees. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Okay, who would like to go next now? Because on the reading part, I think after last week's class, Buddhimata wrote to me separately and said that thank you. Now I'm going to read Prabhupada's books. You made me read. There is association straight up, with Prabhupada. Don't misunderstand him. He's a nice senior devotee, But reading is very, very critical. It's the life and blood of ours, If you can make most. I never liked reading. My mother is surprised. How can you read these things? You never used to read. I said, yeah, that's right. I'm reading. I don't know what happened to me. Okay, Hare Krishna. Please continue. Okay, looks like we've come to the ending now. Wait for 10 more seconds before we sing Maharaj, please hear us. Anyone wants to say something? Your realizations? Okay, there we go. I think we're completing the session today. Looks like it's going to be little Madhav.
Hare Krishna Babuji. Subhadra's turn today.
अरे वाह वाह, very nice. कैसे हैं सुभद्रा, ठीक है आप?
Yes, I'm fine, Prabhuji.
Very
Hare
nice.
Krishna Babuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna सुभद्रा. Hare Krishna Madhav, कैसे हैं आप?
Good.
Good. Very nice. Nice to see all of both of you. Hare Krishna Navina. कसे आहात तुम्ही? बरे आहात ना?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. छान आहे. Very nice. Okay, so let's start now. Nice. Okay, 1, 2, 3, start.
Maharaj, please hear us.
Maharaj, please hear us.
We have learned some real good stuff.
We have learned
some real good stuff. Maharaj, we have learned one thing. Maharaj, we have learned one thing. And today for you we will sing.
today
For you we will sing. If our room is clean,
if our
if
room
our room is clean, then our mind is clean.
then our
Then our
mind is
mind is clean. If our mind is clean,
if
if
our
our
mind
mind is clean, then we can do anything.
we can
Then
do
we can do anything. If our room is dirty,
if our room is dirty,
then so are we.
then so are we.
But if we are dirty,
But if we are dirty,
we're not happy.
And if we are dirty, not but if we. And if we are dirty, we are not happy. Continue.
say it again. And if
We are dirty, we're not happy.
and if we are dirty, we're not happy.
Wasting time
Wasting time
is the greatest crime.
is the greatest crime.
Because wasted time
Because wasted time
means a wasted mind.
is a wasted mind.
So best is your time.
So best use your time
When you're in your prime.
when you're in your prime.
And your whole life
And your whole life
will be sublime.
will be sublime.
If your wealth is gone.
If your wealth is gone,
Then there's nothing wrong.
then there is nothing wrong.
But if the health is gone.
If your health is gone,
Then that's a different song.
that's a different song.
If your character dies.
If your character dies,
Then the world will cry.
then the world will cry.
Only saintly behavior.
Only saintly behavior
That humanity tries.
lets humanity thrive.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
We must always remember Krishna.
We must always remember Krishna
And never forget him too.
and never forget him too.
But how are we to practice this with so many things to do?
But how are we to practice this with so many things to do?
That is the greatest question.
That is the greatest question.
And here's the greatest clue.
And here is the greatest clue.
You can only
No, you must
learn to work so nicely that Krishna remembers you.
you must learn to work so nicely that Krishna remembers you.
So listen very closely
So listen very closely
and make your thinking sharp.
and make your thinking sharp.
Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart.
Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart.
If something is tomorrow,
If something's due tomorrow,
finish it today.
finish it today.
Whatever's due today,
Whatever's due today,
do it now, don't delay.
do it now, don't delay.
Your friends might be lazy
Your friends might be lazy
or doing bad things,
or doing bad things,
but you think again,
but you think again,
don't follow them,
don't follow them,
and you will win the end.
and you will win the end.
Whatever work we're given,
Whatever work we're
we
given,
do our really best.
we do our really best,
We only live with what we need and give Krishna the rest.
and we only need what we need and give Krishna the rest.
This is how to live, to work and to play. To learn to live this way, you'll see Krishna every day.
This is how to live, to work and to play. You learn to live this way, see Krishna every day.
When our time is up, he'll take us up above. We'll sing and dance with him with a heart full of love.
When our time is up, he'll take us up above. We sing and dance with him with a heart full of love.
To chant Krishna's name, his glories and his name, the only and the sound that ever becomes him.
So chant Krishna's name, his glories and his fame. It's the only way this world will ever become sane.
Now please ask this greatest question.
Now please ask this greatest question
And find this greatest clue.
and find this greatest clue.
You must learn to work.
You can.
You can only remember Krishna.
You can only remember Krishna
If Krishna remembers
if
you.
Krishna remembers you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah.
Sorry, you're on mute, Puja.
Jai Sri Srila Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev ki jai.
Jai.
Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Jananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki jai.
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Chandra Premanande Hari Hari
Hari
Bol.
Hari Bol.
Namo Vishwada
Namo Shubha Krishna Prasad Bhutale Srimad Maharashtra Goswami Namo Namo Shubha Srimad Bhakti Goswami Namaste Saraswati Devi.
Gaurvani Prasad Vishesha Shunvari Prasad. Hare Krishna. With this we conclude today's program, and Krishna willing, we will see you next week, same place, same time. Till then, chant Hare Krishna and be happy.